to the Think About It channel. Today we're doing an episode of Rehearsal, where we talk to Philly and South Jersey area performers. Today I have Steven Fisher. What's up, Steve?
What's up? Not much.
Steve is a stage manager, musical director, pianist, and actor for Salt Performing Arts in Chester Springs, Pennsylvania. Some of his notable roles include Miss Trunchbull in Matilda, Troy Bolton, the big boy, in High School Musical, and Patrick Star in the SpongeBob Musical. Today, Steve's going to talk to us about some of his experiences in theater, as well as with Salt, and his theatrical journey so far. Steve is going to talk to you, man.
Yeah, about time.
It's about time.
Steve's my cousin. Yeah.
Steve's my cousin, by the way. So there's a little bit of nepotism in this, but also Steve has a lot of cool stuff to share. So
I live an interesting life.
He does have an interesting life. So, growing up as like kids, theater was not something I think a lot of us saw in your cards. At least I didn't, but what do I know?
Yeah.
I was a kid. So who or what inspired you to become a performer?
It actually was a movie. In 2005, The Phantom of the Opera came out on DVD, but we didn't rent it until like a while after it came out in theaters. And that was something that I was like, oh, this is interesting. Singing and I knew music and I knew operas and whatever, but musicals were not something that was on my radar. Piano, sports, baseball, basketball, all of that stuff was my life. And then we rented this movie and I was like, this is fascinating, cool. And then I started talking to people in my neighborhood and they were like, we're in the drama club at school. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. And they were like in shows and I went and saw them and I got hooked on it. And I had a friend, well, at that time, not my friend, but he was writing musicals as like his school project. He composed and wrote a musical and he asked me to be in it. Well, I kind of asked to be in it. It was actually like the lead character, which was kind of awesome because why not? I had sang in choir and things like that, but I never done musicals. So that was like my first like acting opportunity. And that show was in May of 2007. So I was a sophomore, I think finishing my sophomore year of high school when I started. And I did a couple years in high school with him. He would do a show each year. And that's his organization is called Arts and Athletic Club right now. And he actually is based in the Exton Mall. And he still does the same. He still writes plays and musicals. His name Chris Huddlemeyer. But he's in Exton, Pennsylvania. But that's kind of like where my start, I'd say, like my start of acting was.
Very cool. And we're talking about when you rented it, we're talking like you went to Blockbuster?
Yes.
Yes, because we're that old, right? Because we're that old?
Because unfortunately we're that old and it wasn't on TV.
For anybody anybody that is under the age of 20 watching this, which is probably not that many people, you used to have to like go to a store to rent things. It wasn't just on demand, and you had to rewind the tape, if that means anything to you, but it probably doesn't. But yeah, I bet that was a good time. So would you say that like around that time, like your freshman, sophomore year in high school is when you really knew you wanted to like go at this full force, or was that a little bit later?
I think it was just a hobby, an interest that I had at that time. Yeah, of course. It wasn't like I want to audition and be on Broadway. I think that came when I went to college. I majored in business administration. I have a business administration degree with an organizational communications minor from Bob Jones University, not theater. I took a break from that and then I came back and just started working right out of school. And I was really itching to get back into it. And I started just becoming fascinated with musicals. And I actually wrote a musical, fun fact, like my senior year. And I was just really fascinated with like finding different stories and different ways to tell, have for a script, you know, just like struggles in life. And I was really struggling with like where to find my path and what I want to do in life. And I actually saw an audition for Rent the Musical. And I was like, I really just want to be in the show and I don't even care. And I actually landed the lead role of Mark. And that was kind of like a real, like, I was finally with what felt like my people. People that just understood me, people that it was easy to get along with, people that spoke my language, so to say, and just felt like home. And I think that kind of like jumped me into the addiction of musical theater. I like to call it like community theater, like looking for the next audition. There was a period of time when I was like, oh, I want to be professional. I did audition at a professional theater once and it was fine, but nothing really came uh, of it. But I think that's kind of what gave me the bit me was doing Rent, and I just started expanding and going from theater to theater until I eventually found Salt and started doing things there more regularly.
So you were homeschooled for a good chunk of your life, and I know a lot of public schools, like in our areas, um, have a lot of schools have a lot of very strong like theater and music programs.
Mm.
I know like at the school I teach at, we're about 1,000 kids strong, and it's like a quarter to a third of our population usually tries out for the musical each year.
Wow.
And we don't do a lot of cuts, so like they will do like 2 casts of full shows on top of that. So a lot of these kids now are having something that we didn't necessarily have as kids, where they're having musical theater programs younger and younger. So did you find, and maybe not so much because we are a little bit older, but did you find that when you went to go audition for roles like after college, that things were a little bit harder for you because your experience was a little bit more limited, or you sort of just fit in?
Uh, as far as like auditioning and like the talent that's out there, it just depends. Each show will grab different talent, and different theaters grab different talent. So sometimes it's easy to go into an audition and just be, I don't know, okay, like not have experience or
Right.
whatever. But for me specifically, I definitely have lost some roles to people who have either have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in theater, people who have been studying it and have been in these theater programs all their lives, and they're younger than me, or it's just easy for them. There's less prep that has to go into it. They've taken voice lessons for their whole lives. They've done their school show every year. So for me, I think it has taken a while for me to like get to that point. I feel like I'm finally getting close to that point of like knowing what my routine needs to be to book a role. I've gotten a lot of lucky breaks. Like I said, depending on if people audition for shows, if people are around. I'm a guy, so guys in musical theater, and I'm a tenor. So guys in musical theater, tenor, can dance. Okay. I've been in a lot of dance shows, but I think I just kind of make it by. But I think that's another area that I lack skill in, training with ballet and tap, and I can fake it enough. I can do well enough if I work hard, but I think that's it has been a little difficult in some settings when the competition is stiff.
Mm-hmm.
I also, just segueing into theater education, I haven't done it in a little bit, but I do actually teach music direct kid shows. I've done that as like a side hustle. Salt has an educational program called Stage Light Plus that I've worked at, where they'll put on a show for like 10 weeks, and the kids will come for 2 hours once a week, and then they put on a show, and it's great.
That's awesome. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I'm like, these kids are so lucky. They get to do this. Like, their parents are like, go do this, have fun. And it's I think that's just something that's changed maybe it's always been there, but I feel like that's a new thing. Theater education is a booming business, and it's really awesome, and it's great for everyone to just gain confidence to be in public speaking and just other areas of life. Doing theater, maybe they're not going to do that for the rest of their life. Maybe they're going to be a doctor, but they did theater, so now they can entertain a child in an ER room or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's definitely life skills that go with it. And I am not a theater person. I did sing in high school, and shout out to Miss Jenkins, Debbie Jenkins, if you're watching right now, my former choir teacher. We interviewed her a while back. But I know, like, as a teacher, I have to use a lot of theatrics. Like, I know I come home exhausted because, like, a lot of who I am as a teacher is also who I am as a person. But when I'm facing 100 children each day, you do have to put on a little bit something different. So like I can't say I've been in your shoes, but I do sort of get the vibe of like there are skills that overlap into real life, because
Yeah.
I think sometimes people like, oh, you're just doing theater or whatever, that there's nothing like relevant there, but there's a lot of relevant skills
Yeah.
there. You have moved around a little bit as an adult, a few different places, and community theater is a big word, right? So, as someone who's sort of moved around, and you haven't moved like terribly far away from where
Right.
you grew up and where you are now,
Mhm.
but there are different, like playhouses and stuff definitely in the area I'm in, and definitely in Philly, and definitely out where you're at. Um, and I remember when you were first really starting to pursue theater, you were sort of between a few different places, doing some shows here, some shows there. So, was there some difficulty for you when you would move to a new place, trying to root yourself into a theater? Because theater is like, it can be like a tight knit community.
Yeah. Um, I think my biggest move was probably coming from Ephrata, where my parents lived where they moved when I was in college. I think the biggest move was moving back to the area that I lived in, grew up, Downingtown, Chester Springs, Exton, Pennsylvania. I think moving, starting, ugh, my community hasn't changed as much geographically. I think you kind of had to set boundaries to how far you want to travel. So most times I've lived within like 30 minutes, 45 minutes of Salt specifically, or there's a lot of theaters. There's another theater, Barley Sheep Players, that I've done a couple shows at, and they're in Lionville. But I lived in Conshohocken, so I was closer to the Philly area, but that also led me to do a show when I lived there that was in Maryland, Northeast Maryland. I've done shows in Wilmington, Delaware. I kind of go where the roles are.
Sure, yeah.
But as far as like community, sometimes going to those new theaters can be difficult to break into. Sometimes it's harder to land leading roles at those because they just know they're actors, and you would rather work with what you know than something that's new. And also, you want to work with people that you enjoy working with, and because we're humans, we're all in a community of theater is a great place to create community. So I think as far as moving around, I haven't moved too drastically, but it does lead me to other theaters. Like if I'm closer to one, then I'll go and try a new theater, which can be hard to break into sometimes. And oftentimes once you start doing it, a theater process creates great community and bonds, and it's stressful, and we all have day jobs, and we all just come and torture ourselves by staying up late at night. But we all are there for one common goal, and to put on a great show. And we're all crazy theater people, and we just have fun. And I think it's what fills our cups.
For sure.
Yeah.
So growing up, you played, as long as I've known you as my cousin, you've played piano.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, you grow and mature as like a performer and all around musician and actor. You've worn a lot of different hats now, specifically for Salt, stage manager, musical director, piano, actor. So taking on those different roles and having those different aspects in your tool belt and your repertoire, has having those opportunities to do different things made you a more well-rounded actor? Has it made you maybe more marketable or understanding of different roles or different aspects of theater?
Yeah, I think being a musician makes it easier. Like I can read music, so there's some singers and actors that can't read music, and I think that's a benefit to me, and that helps me with either just being able to sight read music better than someone else, or help them. I guess the better term is being able to help them read music and say like, no, that's actually this note because whatever, and it sounds like this. Or it's helped me with being able to just plunk out my own parts. So if I'm struggling with a harmony, I can just play it myself. But but it's really been helpful with like music directing and playing in pits. I played in like 4 pits that are 13 the musical. I've done that twice. It's a Jason Robert Brown musical. It's great. I played Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I think Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. There's like 2. I think it was either one of those, the classic one. And I played Footloose, which was really fun. That was the last show I played. So I think having that foundation as a performer gives me more musicality with things that just connect to me more naturally, with shaping how I sing dynamics and just understanding what a music director is trying to say, and being able to have more grace with them when they're playing parts and things like that. And if they mess up, it's like, well, I know that's hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
sure.
I have that, whereas other people are like, I just don't understand why they can't play that. I'm like, well, we're humans and it is difficult, and it's also at 9:00 at night and we're trying to play. Yeah.
And I bet they sound exactly like that too.
They do.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I don't know if that answers the question.
It for sure did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask some questions now specifically about you as an actor.
Oh.
So what's been your favorite acting role so far, and what made it your favorite?
That's a really hard question. There's several shows that have been really like special to me. I think I will talk about SpongeBob, because as crazy as the SpongeBob musical is, have you ever heard any music from it or anything?
So
like that?
actually, the school I work at, that was our show last year. So
oh, okay.
I work at a middle school, so like we did like the kid version, but I got to like see a preview of it.
Okay.
A part of a preview of it, because I'd take my class down to it.
Yeah.
But it looks like a fun show.
Yeah. I love the high energy ones.
Yes.
I love being the comedic role. I'm really good at it. Like at being funny, I guess. So I love just like, so Patrick would be that, I think, that role for me. Mm-hmm. It's a role that I didn't really see myself playing. I went into that show like SpongeBob was my dream role. Like I wanted to play that role for years and years, and I prepared and spent like 6 months and so much money on acting and voice lessons and things like that to get for this role, but it just wasn't the role that was meant for me. And the guy, our SpongeBob, was amazing. He was incredible. His name's Jason Scanzaroli. He was great. He was actually on the news on NBC 10 locally, I guess. They did a little interview for SpongeBob, but I think that role, because Patrick is the heart of the show, you think SpongeBob isn't going to be sentimental, but it gives you all the emotions, laughter, tears, and it was definitely a role that was very important to me and made sense, as Patrick being like the heart of the show. There's a ballad in Act 2 that called I Guess I Miss You, and just every time I sang that was really emotional because I thought of my mom, and so that kind of impacted me a lot.
Sure.
Yeah. There's a lyric that he says that I'm only pretending that I'm all right without you. Yeah. And then you're just, so there were several times when I would go off stage and just sob in the back because I would be thinking about my mom. I always see my mom in the audience. Ever since she's passed away, I've always seen her. For those of you who don't, my mom passed away from ALS about 4 years ago. And so every time I scan the audience and I like see her there, and it's fascinating. It's but this show is more like I felt her in my heart.
For sure, yeah.
So that, and a combination with just the cast being really close, and I think that was one that really impacted me. I didn't want it to end. Oftentimes I want a show to end. And this one I was like, please just give me more time.
Yeah.
I was like, just give me more time. I need I think that's probably meant the most.
Do you have a dream role that you haven't done yet that you'd like to do?
I've been fortunate and done a lot of my dream roles, which is great. But I think I've been thinking about this all day, and it's really hard to ask actors. Like, I can tell you a dream role for like a show. If you're like, "What's your dream role in that show?" I can be like, "Yes, this one." I think one of my overall dream roles that I always come back to is Charlie Price in Kinky Boots. I don't know if you're familiar with that show at all.
Vaguely.
Um, and middle a new show, Middle Noah in The Notebook. Notebook, the musical is incredible. Music's great. The story's like just like the movie. Um, that one is touring now, but that's probably my those two roles. I think right now are my obsession. I guess you could.
So, what are some things you do to get into character?
Um, I think like I don't really have a specific like routine. Sometimes I'll just like be backstage and just like shake it out and like just kind of I really am just thinking about when I try to get myself in a headspace where I become the character. And
Mm-hmm.
typically that doesn't happen until my foot hits the stage. Like I don't do it off stage. There's just something that when I'm in it and I'll go on stage and flip a switch and I'm there. Uh as far as like I do a lot of nebulizing vocal mist. I have a vocal mist nebulizer. I do a lot of like ritualistic things for my voice when I'm in a heavy singing role. Um, that kind of is like my pre-show routine. That kind of focuses me. I have a steamer that I just sit there and I like steam my face like to get everything all loosened up and everything. Obviously vocal exercises. Um, my vocal exercises will change depending on the type of show I'm in. If I'm doing a very like charactery show, I'll do a lot of things that push my voice forward. And when doing more classical stuff, it's more just like rounded tone and things like that. Blend and yeah, I mean everything is blending with your scene partners. But yeah, I mean a lot of times it just is in the rehearsal process as we play to get into character. Like we'll rehearse and we'll run a scene over and over again, and then we have a thing called Tech Week where we put everything together, and I will literally play and play and play that entire week till I perfect it. And then if it's a comedic role, I'll keep adding things as I go. I'll do ad libs that no one expects, and it's just really fun. That's like we're just playing. We're just kids playing.
That's fun.
But yeah,
I have a fun one here for you. I sort of added it last minute. What piece of work, it can be a book, a TV series, anything. What piece of work that's not currently a play or a musical would you like to see as a play or a musical?
sorry, I did. I don't know. There's a lot of movies that are classics that I feel like would be good. Um, I think I have it. I have it. I would love to see Forrest Gump as a musical. I you think you laugh, but it will
No,
happen.
it would
I'm
be
calling it now.
fantastic. Forrest
But
Gump the musical would be fantastic.
yes, I just think there's so much in that story that you could pick and choose to make it into a great musical. Would it win Best Musical? No, because the movie musicals rarely win. But I think it would be amazing, and I would love to play that part.
So
Jenny,
my second
the whole song,
Jenny,
Jenny.
Jenny.
Like there's a whole number where he's just I ran and then I ran. I woke up and I just ran. Like that could be a whole musical sequence. Like
Lady Ray.
yeah, and yeah, and then all the different characters just running against him, and then it starts with one, and then two, and then five, and then 20, and then yeah, it would be great. Yeah, I
Second to last question.
yes.
What advice would you give to someone, whether they have a ton of experience or they're seeing this now and they're like, man, that guy is cool. What advice would you give to someone who wants to get involved in their local community theater?
Do it. Just do it. It's scary, but you have to just take that first step and do it You have to sign up for the audition. You have to pick your songs. And if you fail, you fail, but then you go and do it again. We have so many people at Salt specifically that are like, this is my first show ever, or this is my first show since high school. And I'm like almost 30 years old and I haven't done a show because I've been a teacher or I've been too busy with life or I had kids and now they're old enough I can finally do theater again. There's so many people out there that are talented that just don't do it. And so you just have to do it.
Just do it.
That's
You
it.
heard it here
Just
first.
it. And if you really are like gung ho, you find a voice teacher. That's the biggest thing in musical theater. You find a voice teacher, you find a dance studio, and you just take adult dance classes. They're out there. It just depends on your financial state, but um, there's a place for everyone. There's a community theater for everyone, and I truly believe that. And of all abilities, there's a role in theater for anyone.
I love
You
that.
just got
That's
to get
awesome.
out there.
That's a
Yeah.
great message. Where can people learn more about you specifically and what you're up to? And if they are in your area, maybe learn more about Salt.
Me specifically, I don't have like a professional page. I think I tried that, but my Instagram, Steven underscore, I think it's probably underscore Fisher. I post some things, my Facebook, but that's probably not set to public. So probably my Instagram is set to public. But for Salt, which is where I'm actively doing stuff all the time, it's saltpa.com. But also just like their Facebook page and you'll see my face.
Yes, you
I'm
will.
Yeah, I'm currently in Anastasia, the musical there. I'm playing Count Leopold and I'm in the ensemble, doing some great dancing, partner dancing, and just singing this amazing score. And that's Christmas time, November 20th, I believe, through the 13th of December, I think. It's 4 weekends. Great show, great cast. We have a new huge video wall that's like state of the art, better than Broadway. They just renovated their space. So it's a lot of cool things. SpongeBob was the first show, but it's really going to be a magical show. So just like their Facebook page, and you'll see my face. And then my next project is I'm actually stage managing, stepping behind the table, and I'm stage managing and assistant directing Grand Night for Singing, which is a Rogerson Hammerstein review. We start that up next week.
Very nice.
Rehearsals, yeah.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me
Nice.
and whoever is watching this. I know you're a busy guy with your day job and then your second job of being a thespian.
As we
Um, so thank you so much for your time. And we're recording this on the night the Phillies are playing the Dodgers in LA. So go Phils,
Phils.
go Phils.